It was as if my world froze. This is an issue of unexplained infertility. It is even easier when the doctor finds what the problem is and then they treat. But this time around, unexplained infertility. We began the pregnancy journey. 2 weeks into the pregnancy, I woke up. I couldn't see. 2013, I got pregnant again. 6 months after, I began to suffer complications. 8 months after, they had to take the baby out. And 1 month later, the baby died. Fast forward again to 2017. I got pregnant again. 6 months into the pregnancy, complications. 8 months into the pregnancy, the baby died in my womb. Do what our God cannot do. My name is Esijamide Owumi, and I have come to say thank you to Elroy, the God that sees me. 2010, I gave birth to my first child. Fast forward to 2013. 2013, I got pregnant again. 6 months after, I began to suffer complications. 8 months after, they had to take the baby out. And 1 month later, the baby died. Fast forward again to 2017. I got pregnant again. 6 months into the pregnancy, complications. 8 months into the pregnancy, the baby died in my womb. It was as if my world froze. As God will have it, with the help of my husband, we were able to pull through. And then we came to Abuja. Meanwhile, my first child was growing year by year. And then he would go to school and come back and say, Mom, during break, my classmates go to the crèche to see their siblings. When will I have my own siblings? I would cry. But I would go back to God. 2021, I was introduced to the fire altar. But to tell you the truth, I was one leg out and one leg in. If only I continued that 2021, maybe I would have been dedicating my second child, my fourth child already, or my fifth child rather. I wasted too much time, honestly. I was one leg out and one leg in. But as God will have it, in 2022, September, I got serious. And then whenever my husband comes back from work, I'll do the prayer. But when it's time for testimonies, I'll increase the volume and I'll put it close to him. And then he will say, wait a minute. This pastor is not seeing these people, but he's declaring, and the miracles are happening. Let's just remain on this altar. And that was how the journey began for both of us together. I could not do it alone, but with both of us, we're always on the altar. We began to pray. Fast forward to January 1st, 2023. I had a dream where I saw Papa, but the crowd was so much. Everybody wanted to go see Papa. I tried and tried. In that dream, I saw a man on a wheelchair. So my mind was like, let me just carry this man, ride him on that wheelchair and try to pave way for myself. But it didn't work. So I just woke up disappointed from the dream. I went to use the restroom. And when I came back to sleep, the dream continued. This time around, there was nobody there with Papa. I just went straight to Papa. And I said, Papa, I have a child. But I've been trying to, before I continued, he placed his hand on my womb. And then Papa said, you are already pregnant. I held on to that word. I was praying with that word. And then fast forward to February. Since we've gone to the hospitals, and then the doctor said, Oga, you are fine, no? Madam, you are perfectly okay. What is the problem now is that this is an issue of unexplained infertility. It is even easier when the doctor finds what the problem is and then they treat. But this time around, unexplained infertility. We began the pregnancy journey. 2 weeks into the pregnancy, I woke up. I couldn't see. I got blind. When you say blind, I wasn't seeing anything, but my eyes were open. I touched my husband. I can't see. He said, how do you mean? I said, I can't see. It was few minutes to 7. My husband took me to the toilet and tried to wash my face. Immediately water touched my face. My eyes began to burn. My husband began to pray. The only thing I remembered to say was, what God cannot do does not exist. And immediately the program started. Papa said, every carryover of negativity, whether from the sleep, whether from anywhere, return back to the center. And then we said amen. And then my husband took water again and washed my face. It was as if they blew cold breeze into my eyes. And my eyes opened. And then my husband said, sweetheart, there is battle. And then the journey continued. Because of the phobia of going to the hospital, I said I will not go to the hospital. My husband said, you have to go to the hospital. Okay, fine. We went to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, the first day I went to the hospital, the nurse there said, doctor, come, there's an emergency here. This woman, her blood pressure is too high. I looked at my husband. In my mind, I said, I don't want to come to hospital. You said I should come to hospital. Then the doctor said, madam, go one place, rest. I'll give you a tablet. Let's see what happens. If it doesn't work, that means that you will be kept in the hospital. I said, not me. The doctor said, it's not about you saying not me. And then that was how my husband and I sat somewhere. And I went back to, oh Lord, show me mercy. By the time they checked again, my blood pressure has gone back to normal. And that was how the pregnancy progressed. When it got to 6 months, remember, previous pregnancies that I lost, 6 months. When it got to 6 months, I went for scan. The mistake I made was to ask the sonographer. I asked her, I said, madam, how far? She said, Kai, the water in your womb is too much. It might kill the baby. And I said, God forbid. In my mind, I don't blame you. It's me that asked. And I went to my doctor. And then he said, that is what it is. And I said, what you people have seen today, you will not see it again. This child, I got this child on the altar of fire. I am a life-giving spirit. Nothing dies within me. Nothing dies around me. And that was how God took all the glory. By the time I went back 2 weeks later, the doctor forgot to tell me. I said, doctor, how about the result of the scan? Because I ran another scan. And then he said, madam, congratulations. Indeed, there is nothing there. The amniotic fluid is normal. The baby is fine. Fast forward to the 19th of November, I woke up that morning and I was shivering. I was scared. Fear took over me. This child will die or I die. That was what was dropping in my heart. My husband and I came to church and I said, God, just let the man of God, let Papa mention my case. And then that 19th of November, Papa declared. And he said, no pregnant woman here will die. And then no child of yours will die. In as much I'm not saying it exactly the way Papa said it, but that was the word. I held on to that word. The time was due for the pregnancy actually. On the 20th of November, the following day, I gave birth to my child.